Hi, everyone. This is Brent Gary, fractional CMO at Gary Consulting, and this is another recording of Stop Guessing. This is a conversation I have with founders and leaders who are past the getting started stage. They are scaling, and here I'm joined by Max Mamedov. He is a co-founder. Max, actually, what is your agency name?
Agency name. So the name is Mad Studio. So it's MAD, which stands for Mobile App Development. So we started way back, I think in 2015 or so. But we don't actually do any kind of agency stuff from the moment we started byAir. So now we just this is our only project, and we kind
Okay.
of yeah.
and and that's how I came across you. It's because I'm a big user of byAir. And for anyone who doesn't know what byAir is, it is a flight tracker. And and what I mean by that is, your normal airline app will give you notifications, but to me, an app like byAir solves a very specific problem because I want to know as much information about my flight. So from if there are delays for the incoming plane, when the plane lands at the gate, all of those statuses by gives it to me, but I can also track not just my flights, but track the flights of like my wife, my parents as they're flying, and it just gives me that peace of mind, and because it's reliable. I mean, that's one of the biggest things I was just telling Max before we got start recording is that I have missed a flight because the American Airlines app wasn't sending notifications properly to my Android device and to the watch. And it was just like, wow, this is insane. I'll take some responsibility for that, but it just made me realize I need something that is like mission critical. And Bayer is so far has been there after me on Android. And so I'll get started with some questions next. Like, so what was the like I guess the reason to make Bayer? Like, what was it trying to solve?
So okay. For last maybe 4 or 5 years, me and my co-founder, we started to travel way more than we used to, and we noticed that there is there is a gap between many things in travel, in travel apps space. So, for example, there are some flight tracking apps, personal flight tracking apps like Flighty, which was not so big as it is now, I think. But there was Up in the Air, which was really big, but they shut down, I think, in 2023. But I think like they all serve more like the purpose of tracking your flight, whether rather than being a trip, uh, more like fully featured trip planning app and no airport features. And I was always, it was always a pain going to unknown airport and trying to find a map, or you have to go to some uh, kiosk to see the map to find a place to eat and stuff. So we thought that we should try to uh, build a project around flight tracking that will go beyond just pure flight data, and maybe lean more towards airport experience and some other stuff like trip planning, expense tracking, because of course there are some apps like Tripsy, which is also iOS only. They're pretty good. They I think they have great design, and the app is has a lot of features, but it's iOS only. And there is Tripit, which is I think it's now it's owned by SAP, and from people who I never used it, and by
I use it
platform?
because my wife sends me all her flight information via Tripit.
Okay. Yes, but people don't actually love it. Yeah, I think they don't invest enough time and effort into continue to develop it because maybe it's more for B2B, enterprise, that kind of stuff. So yeah, um, so it's been. I think when we started in 2023, we we were even thinking about, um, should we even do flight tracking or should we start with airports? Uh, but at some point we decided, okay, yeah, we need flight tracking, at least some kind of like basic functionality. Uh, and then yeah, I think it was it was the right decision. And um, for airport features, for last few months we didn't do much about that. So we do have airport maps, we do have tips, we do have delays, um, and some other stuff. I mean, tips like some of them are AI. Like, so we do have some research agents that goes online and find some kind of useful tips for airports, but we also do have user created tips. So if you know some kind of place to I don't know, to smoke or to sleep at the airport, you can share it with other travelers. But we do plan to um, improve that experience, and now with more AI stuff built, we can create interactive maps. We can get more data from, let's say, like Google Maps, reviews and stuff. So we do plan to increase that, improve that functionality. So yeah, the idea was make to bridge the gap between airport apps, which are pretty bad, and flight tracking apps.
Okay, so I guess for me, like what was the impetus to do Android versus just iOS only? Seems like a lot of companies are just focusing on
Yeah.
iOS.
I think it's kind of a personal preference to go, to be platform agnostic and to not, being iOS exclusive or Android exclusive. Because, well, me, for example, I use both iPhone and Android. So, you know, I would hate switching from platform to platform and learn a new app and somehow transfer all my flights, all my data, and all my uh, patterns that I developed by using the app. So, but at the same time, we don't want to build a bad user experience. For example, by doing cross-platform like Flutter, React Native apps that doesn't feel native. So we try to um, build the best possible experience, but at the same time, given mm, given don't restrict our users to just one platform. We love what Telegram has been doing. I think they have great apps for all kinds of platforms, from Linux to iPhone, Android, Windows, web, uh, command line interface, whatever. So we like that approach, and this is why, for example, I use Telegram for all my communications.
So I know you are from Russia, I believe, but you live
Yep.
in Boston right now. Okay,
Yep. Yep.
all right. So do you think like having like that? I guess for me, I'm in Dallas, Texas. So having that international, I guess, experience has like influenced how you're catering. 'Cause I think a lot of the apps that I use, maybe are US centric. So in the United States, it's like iOS first, or all iOS only. And I'm wondering if just you living in different countries kind of giving you that, you know what, got to cater to a big audience.
That's a good question. I think it does a bit because, for example, in Spain, I think iOS and Android is like 50-50. Maybe Android is even more than has more market share than iOS. In Russia, maybe it's the same. It's like maybe 50-50 or so. But I wouldn't say that it's like fully based on that. It just um, so we, like I mentioned before, we had a mobile app development studio, and we were doing apps for both iOS and Android. So we pretty much took that experience and used it to build by Air. So I think it's mostly
Just building on the foundation you already had, kind of.
yeah.
So I guess from like a maybe kind of walk me through like when you launched the app, right? Was the uptake like really quick, or was it like you had to build awareness, and how did that happen?
Yeah. So first, maybe year and a half was more exploring than growing. So we did uh, we had some users, but maybe a couple thousand, maybe less. So it was pretty stagnant. But then after Up in the Air shut down, people started to look for some kind of alternatives, and I think it was our first kind of a tailwind. Um, and this is when we started to see the growth. And I think we never were focused on marketing. And this is this thing that we just started to dive deeper into. We were more focused on product, user feedback, trying to build the best product that we can. Um, from October 2023, it's been like this. So we're growing. So now this kind of a second tailwind, I think, is it has been growing a lot for the last couple of years at least. Android folks, they try to, they're looking for some kind of alternatives, and they just go to Google and type Flighty for Android. And I think we're the first, like we're number one. Of course, the first one is Flighty web page, Android waitlist, but then the second one is our website, and then Gemini, which was built in Google. It produces a response like byAir is the top alternative. So this is our
And
but
that's funny though, because like I do a lot of like I do a lot of talks about AEO. I'm saying like if you're not on these platforms like Google AI Overviews or Gemini, like it really you don't exist for a lot of people, right? So the fact that I'm assuming your site is SEO optimized.
yeah, it is. Yeah, we spent some time in I think January and February optimizing our website, and we still continue to do so. We add more pages. We added airport pages, airline pages to the website, and it helped a lot.
So that's cool. And then you mentioned you're like Gemini and whatnot though. So I mean, there's like kind of like what you're using to scale up your marketing is having like optimizations, or you're doing like maybe like other kinds of like promotions or collaborations with other companies.
So we do some paid acquisition with platforms like Google, Meta. We tried Reddit, LinkedIn. Um, so this is one thing, and the other one is now we interact with influencers from Instagram, travel content creators. But I think we will see the first results maybe in a couple of months. So there is some. content creation work is going on, and I think now it's more like what we call internally is drilling the oil. So we try to find um, the best channel for us, because we see um, how, let's say, Google ads been performing. Now we see Apple search ads, so Meta, then uh, Instagram. So we will find the best channel, and then we choose maybe a couple, and then we scale.
And I know you mentioned that you get a lot of feedback from users, though. So does that drive the roadmap, or do you have like a vision that you're trying to like kind of spearhead?
I think it's both. So of course we have our vision, and but it's being shaped by user feedback, of course. But it's good that we at the moment we still, I would say, very early stage. So we don't come from travel. I mean, we didn't work in some travel tech companies. This is our first travel related project. So we still learn a lot, and like I said, I do lots of interviews with our users, because there are some interesting use cases and scenarios and stuff I never thought of. So, for example, there was one um, flight attendant at, I think it was United, and he mentioned that they don't allow them. I mean, the airline don't allow flight attendants to bring their phone on plane, so they rely on their watch to uh, see the time and how much time it is left before landing. And this is the use. Okay, then it needs to be offline. It needs to download all the flight data prior to your flight, and it needs to update offline without internet, but at the same time provide you up to date info. And you cannot uh, envision these things if
I
if
didn't
you
know
don't
that.
if you, yeah.
Actually, it's a good point you mentioned though. So, 'cause I know like I get the notifications all the time on my watch, and like so was that I guess like how integral is like smartwatch into the byAir feature set?
Yeah, we have both watchOS and wearOS apps, both native iOS, Android. Uh, they show you your upcoming flights. You can go into flight details and see the timeline, how much time is left, what is the status of the flight, and everything. We do support like complications, live activities on Apple Watch, widgets on Apple Watch, complications on Wear OS as well. So I would say it is, when we consider some change. So, for example, we'll have two more statuses for flight, which is taxi in and taxi out. And of course, we have to consider how it will look on your watch. So I would say it is quite
Okay.
important for us.
Well, can I give a little feature? I don't know if it makes any sense. Um, so I'm wondering, is it possible? You don't have to answer this, but just something to keep in mind. If you have a flight coming in, let's say for like a friend or whatever, like it should tell you based on where you are located to leave now to get to the airport. Because a
Okay.
lot of times, like, so I'm being selfish because like I don't. So my wife flies like every week basically, and I pick her up usually, and it's always like this game where okay, if I leave too early, then I gotta go park, right? If I leave too late, then I get a phone call, hey, where are you at? So I'm like, it might be cool to say, you know what, hey, Brent, flight is about to land at this time. Taxiing takes this amount of time. It's kind of algorithm that says, you know what, you might want to leave now, right, or in 5 minutes. So then I can go, okay, you know what, I can get, just food for thought.
Oh, that's a great idea. And actually, um, picking up somebody at the airport is a pretty popular use case. I think many of us do the same, and we face many similar issues, like you mentioned. Um, but we still didn't decide how should we approach it. Should we build a different product based on it? Because we there is a small, well, maybe a few hundred of users from our users that we know. They work at airport taxi. So they work for some private transfer company, and they have your flight details, and they just want to pick you up at a correct time. But I would say there are many different things to consider to not be, to not do a bloated app. We try to stay, even though there are a lot of features in the app, we try to focus on some use cases, but having these small things like what time should you leave, or what time should you actually arrive at the airport. For example, if you don't pick somebody up, but if you drop somebody, so you drive them to the airport, to an airport, and um, you know uh, time is it depend time that you should arrive at, it depends on whether this person checked in online, or they have to go through uh, check-in desk, or what is the TSA wait times, or how busy is airport at the moment. So yeah, I think we'll uh, work on both of these use cases. So yeah, thanks a lot for the input.
Oh no, no, yeah,
Actually, I would love to chat with you to do a bit of a customer interview. To okay, cool, yeah, bet.
yeah, because I'm also, I use it and on a foldable as
Uh-huh.
well. So, that's one another thing too, is that it's not just an app that is on Android. It's like it's respecting the platform, with the Wear OS, different form factors and whatnot. Though, so yeah, and then I guess kind of like winding down is I know you said it's been growing. So has that been primarily more like I know you have the premium subscription, so is that the primary use way that you're being able to invest in byAir?
Yes, this is the at the moment it is primary resource that we have, resource of income that we have as a company. But there is more stuff coming. For example, we plan to introduce flight delay and cancellation compensations. So we partner with a couple of top tier companies that do um, delay compensations, but it's more for European countries because they have a pretty strict law. So if your flight is delayed for more than 3 hours, you can be eligible for compensation, and we help you go through this process. So this will also help us. We tried to um, have some kind of like eSIM functionality, but it was a long time ago and it didn't work for us because I think you need to have like pretty big user base, and maybe our user base is not really, so it didn't work, to be honest. We do still have airport transfers. We partner with guys, welcome pickups. They operate in, I think, like 200 plus airports. I use it personally. So I wanted to add them to byAir as well. But I think now we don't actually, sell that much, that many transfer, like airport transfer bookings. Um, so yeah, at the moment it's just it's premium app subscribers.
Cool. Well, I mean, that's I learned a lot, and I think all the founders, and we'll hopefully get some insights from how you've been able to like like scale by air with the feature set. Max, I want to thank you for hopping on and just sharing how you've been making like this internationally used. Actually, how many countries do you have users of?
Okay, so there are a few ways to count, but the one that I like the most is, so we do have home airport feature, so you can set up your home airport in your profile. I check it maybe every day or every couple of days, and the last time I checked it was 107 countries. So yeah, and the app is translated into, oh my god, I think 18 languages or 16. I lost count, to be honest, and we'll add two more in the following couple of weeks. So yeah, it's been used. If you open Google Analytics, there's a map, and it's all pretty much blue. Of course, there are some dots that are maybe white, but it's like some countries where uh, there's, I think, maybe one super small airport where they do boarding passes on paper. But other than that, yeah, so it's US, Europe, Asia.
Cool. Well, Max, thanks again. Great conversation. And folks, I want to put the link to the Buy Air app for iOS and Android. And this is Stop Guessing by Gary Consulting, where we do marketing that takes you from guessing to growth.
Okay, yeah, thanks a lot for your time as well.